Okay, so I'm gonna apologize now because this video is probably gonna be my most rambly video ever. And I feel like I say that in every video, but I do want to apologize because I know I always say that I'm trying to not be super professional because I'm trying to be relatable. And that's very true, but most of my videos, I actually know what I'm gonna talk about going into them. While for this one, I literally figured out this discovery, this news, whatever you want to call this, about 15 minutes ago when I was driving home from work. Since I'm a weirdo and I work like 9-hour days, I really tend to get all of my YouTube done on the drive to work, from work, or on my breaks. And on my way home from work, I watched a video from a YouTuber named Switchforce. Obviously, he's like a Nintendo-centric YouTuber, and he started covering a Twitter account called Nintendogs BS, which has basically been quote-unquote leaking news about the next Switch revision. I think it's pretty common knowledge now that the Switch is old. It's going to show its age very soon and has been for a little bit now, and the future console we're going to get is probably going to be in the Switch family solely because of how popular the Nintendo Switch has been and became after the pandemic. This is easily Nintendo's most successful console, and pretty much every big game that comes out on the Switch sells millions of copies solely because of how many people have a Switch. And so far we really haven't seen revisions. Yeah, we got the Switch Lite, but it was essentially the same Switch as the first one, just without the Switch ability. And then we got the OLED, which is still my favorite console of all time. I think it looks amazing. The screen update was definitely noticeable since I'm someone who mainly plays in handheld mode. And again, I want to say before I start covering this Twitter account is that this is like 90% fake. Most leakers now are talking about the Switch 2, but there's something off about this account in particular, which is why I want to cover this. I'm not too sure if I want to cover like leaks going forward, because for me, leaks are always like a weird territory. So this Twitter account is barely a month old. It basically joined July 1st or July 2023 and is only following Nintendo. I want to make that very clear. And it's also, the @ is Nintendo Dogs BS, so this whole account could just be full of bull, but I still think it's really interesting. So on July 12th, they posted like a screenshot of a box and what would essentially be like the box art for the Switch 2. And for most people, they wrote this off as fake. It's a very good fake. I think whoever is doing this is really good with Photoshop, but the Switch logo looks off. The Switch itself just kind of looks like a knockoff, even though I really like the design. The Joy-Cons look really weird. There's no like plus or minus button on the Joy-Cons, which is super weird. However, I think the most realistic part of this imaging is actually the fact that it's literally just called Nintendo Switch 2. I'm pretty sure that the next console is either going to be called the Switch 2, Switch Pro, or the new Nintendo Switch, since that was their branding for a little bit there. And then on July 16th, they posted what would essentially be like the back of the box, or in most cases, it would be a flyer that you get inside the box. And it's basically showing how the Joy-Cons work, where when you're connected to the Switch, they have to be up in like this little holder. And then when you push them down, they'll deconnect. And this is where you can pretty much see there's no plus or minus, but it's basically the same size as the Gen 1 Switch Joy-Cons is what it's saying. Now, I can't read this. I'm pretty sure it's in Italian. I'm not too sure. Don't like poach me, but from what I can kind of gather, it's basically just going over the functionality and what kind of the home button does at the bottom there. And then the part that gets a lot of people here is the most recent one on July 18th, which was today. They posted a GIF that pretty much shows the UI for the new Switch. Now, this UI, first of all, is so much cooler than I think anything we would get from Nintendo. And I personally think that this right here shows why this is definitely fake, because I don't really think we would get a UI that has background imaging in a Switch. I don't know if Nintendo would ever really want to do that. They've always really used like still images. There's like some cases with the Wii and Wii U where it had it, but for most of the time, it's pretty much just an image. Also, it says Super Mario Wonder on the main Switch screen, but the cartridge in the image says Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which is the official name. So that's really weird. If they're saying it's gonna like abbreviate name titles, that's just pretty stupid in my opinion. But otherwise, I think the UI looks super clean. I think the model itself is actually super cool. For me, it actually kind of just looks like a Photoshop version of the Project Q, but I mean, Sony and Nintendo are not that different if you really think about it. They could use the same screen producer for that. I will say, I think like the no notches on the sides and tops here looks really good. I think if this was how the model actually looked, I would be really happy. Like this would definitely give me like a huge Switch Pro vibe, and I'm definitely okay with it. But I definitely think the fact that it's a GIF is really weird to me. Like I've never seen a leaker go to this extent to make something seem real. Like a GIF is just super weird, and the Switch model itself looks exactly like the quote-unquote leaked box art does. So either this is like AI generated or they made this themselves, and I mean it's a good GIF. It looks really high produced, and I'm gonna definitely keep an eye on this account because I think they said in the next 2 days or so they're gonna be posting more. I think today, and then they're saying they're gonna post something tomorrow. So tomorrow they could post something that totally like shows that the Switch here is fake. But to me, it's just interesting to see. I'm gonna put the Twitter account in the description, and my like last kind of point here is this Twitter account isn't getting too much traction, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing, because if this account gets taken down by Nintendo and the Nintendo ninjas, then there's actually a pretty solid case for it may having like some footing in reality. Nintendo is pretty much known for going after any leaks at all, and I mean, we pretty much know from the Microsoft court case that the Switch's like predecessor is going to be out within 2024, or it's expected to be. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it was expected to come out in 2022 and they pushed it twice. So for all we know, we could not be getting another Switch until like the end of 2024, but I definitely think that it's going to come out next year, Q1 or Q2. But man, I think, again, I'm stuck on this UI. I think it looks so good. It would be so much better than anything Nintendo could give us.